Welcome back to an all-new adult erotica in comics. You're watching SFont82, and I am Scotty, your underground comic-loving friend. And this week, we're going to be talking about an erotic comic book series by a husband and wife duo, both legends in the comic book industry in their own right. The husband being a famous writer who has written such stories as V for Vendetta, From Hell, Batman the Killing Joke, Superman, Swamp Thing. The list just goes on. And his wife, a notable women's pioneer in underground comics. She's done art as well as written in women's comics, Tits and Clits, Anarchy Comics, and so many more. Of course, I'm talking about Alan Moore and Melinda Gebbie. We're going to be talking about Lost Girls in this video. Stick around. Welcome back. Like I said before, the focus of today's video will be on Lost Girls, the erotic comic book / graphic novel by Alan Moore and Melinda Gebbie. Alan Moore being an English author known primarily for his work on comic books, including Watchmen, V for Vendetta, The Ballad of Halo Jones, Swamp Thing, Batman the Killing Joke, From Hell, and the list just goes on and on. He is widely recognized as one of the best comic book writers in the English language, and he is accompanied with artwork on the Lost Girls title by wife and other half, Melinda Gebbie, who herself is a legend in the comic book industry in underground comics. She is a women's pioneer who contributed artwork to women's comics for Last Gasp, Tits and Clits Comics, Wet Satin, Anarchy Comics, and even completed her own solo comic book in the 70s. Alan and Melinda both came together to do the series The Lost Girls, depicting the sexually explicit adventures of 3 female fictional characters of the late 19th and early 20th century. Alice, from Lewis Carroll's Alice Adventures in Wonderland, and Through the Looking Glass. Dorothy Gale, from L. Frank Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and Wendy Darling from J.M. Barrie's Peter and Wendy. They meet as adults in 1913 and describe and share some of their erotic adventures with each other. In this book, Alice is in her 20s. Wendy is now in her 30s and married to a man in his 50s named Harold Potter. They are visiting the expensive mountain resort Hotel Himmelgarten in Austria on the eve of World War I. Alan Moore is one of the most critically acclaimed writers in the field of comic books, and the release of this work received widespread coverage in the industry media. Despite the price of $75 US, the book's 2 print runs of 10,000 each sold out at the distributor level on the day of their release, with the US sales at the end of 2007 reaching 35,000 copies. There was a little bit of controversy, as there is about a lot of the books that we cover on adult erotica and comics. In the US and Canada, many retailers have stated that they will not stock the book out of fear of possible obscenity prosecution, though some said they might make the book available to their customers via special order and simply not stock it. In Canada, the Canadian Border Services Agency initially seized a copy of the book citing obscenity, and Top Shelf seized its import from the UK. However, after an appeal was made to the agency by the publisher, the senior program advisor of the Prohibited Importations Unit of CBSA approved entry of the book, stating in a letter, "These depictions are integral to the development of an intricate, imaginative, and artfully rendered storyline, and the portrayal of sex is necessary to a wider artistic and literary purpose." Moore states that the storm of criticism, which he and Gebbie expected, did not materialize, which he attributes in part to his design of Lost Girls as a benign form of pornography. He cites people like Angela Carter, who, in her book, The Sadian Women, admitted the possibility of a form of pornography that was benign, that was imaginative, was beautiful, and which didn't have the problems that she saw in a lot of other pornography as inspirations for the work. He has also said that his own description of Lost Girls as pornography has wrong-footed a lot of people. Moore speculates that if we'd had come out and said, well, this is a work of art, they would have probably all said, no, it's not, it's pornography. So because we're saying this is pornography, they're saying, no, it's not, it's art. And people don't realize quite what they've said. In the UK, graphic artists and publishers feared that the book could be illegal to possess under the Coroners and Justice Act, which criminalizes any sexual image depicting a child defined as anyone appearing under the age of 18. The book was nonetheless approved and continues to be published in the UK. The title The Lost Girls is a play on the name for Peter Pan's followers, the Lost Boys. The individual sections dealing with the three girls all have distinct visual layouts and themes used for their chapters. Alice's sections feature ovals, reminiscent of her looking glass, while Wendy's are shrouded in tall, dark rectangles, reminiscent of a shadowy Victorian architecture of her time. And Dorothy has wide panels in imitation of the flat landscape of Kansas and prominently features silver shoes. Each of the three Lost Girls volumes opens with a quotation from the three original authors, Lewis Carroll, J.M. Barrie, and L. Frank Baum. Parts of these citations are used as titles for each book. The first 6 chapters of Lost Girls were initially published in the Taboo anthology magazine, beginning in 1991 with Taboo issue 5. Kitchen Sink Press's Tundra imprint later reprinted the Taboo chapters as 2 separate volumes, containing all of the previously published chapters. A 10-issue series was scheduled at one point, but Moore and Gebbie instead decided to take the time to finish it, then offer it to various companies as a finished product. Eventually, Top Shelf was selected as the publisher, and at one point, the finished product was meant to be released in the late 2003 or early 2004 years. Top Shelf later planned to debut it in the United States at the 2005 San Diego Comic-Con, but due to graphic design taking longer than anticipated, it was released at the 2006 convention instead. In the UK, the book was published on January 1st of 2008 and launched by Moore and Gebbie at a book launch in London on January 2nd. Over the course of the book's 16-year production, Moore and Gebbie had entered into a romantic relationship, and in 2005 they announced their engagement to be married. I'd recommend to anybody working on the relationship that they should try embarking on a 16-year elaborate pornography together, joked Moore. I think they'll find it works wonders. Moore originally planned to write in his usual style, producing a lengthy script from which Gebbie would work on. But after some initial attempts, they decided to collaborate much more closely. So she would construct the pages of artwork from my incoherent thumbnail sketches, and then I would put the dialogue in afterwards, Moore said. The Lost Girls was published in an online magazine, The First Post, in 2008. The DVD of the documentary feature film The Mindscape of Alan Moore contains an exclusive bonus interview with Gebbie, elaborately detailing the origin of the book and the collaboration with Moore. So what do you guys think about Alan Moore and Melinda Gebbie's The Lost Girls? Is it taking it too far using these young characters in sexual scenarios? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you a fan of Alan Moore? Had you heard of Melinda Gebbie previous to this video? Let me know in the comments below. Please hit that like button if you learned anything throughout today's video. And I want to give a huge shout out to the channel members. The channel membership money goes straight to buying basic necessities for new members of recovery who have nothing. People who are going into recovery trying to turn their life around who don't have the basic necessities such as toothpaste, soap, and other things. I take the money, I round up a bunch of supplies, and I take it to my local rehab facility, Cadis, here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So that is where the channel member money goes. If you would like to be a member, it only costs $1.99 a month. And I want to give a big shout out to each and every channel member. Thank you for helping me help other people and making this dream come true. Big shout out to the channel members. And I want to thank you, the viewers, for coming through to check out this week's video. I drop new videos every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I hope that you will come back and check them out. I also hope that you all have a fantastic week, and I will see you next time. Peace.